loves her sailor, and he loves her too all.
Then it began with the day FDR said would live in infamy. To understand it, our generation might liken the shock of Pearl Harbor to the September 11th attack on New York. That size shock and outrage. Louisiana boys were eyewitness fighters and victims. After Pearl, they joined up out of patriotism and for other reasons. After all, these were bad times all around.
There was no money, so it was all barter. If somebody went out and got a whole bunch of oysters, each one of them would get so many oysters, and they swap oysters for potatoes and so forth, and milk.
Willie Grow remembers what life was like in South Louisiana.
They'd swap milk for bread. It was mostly swap.
John Zanka's father ran a grocery delivering bread to Pointe-à-la-Hache.
My daddy used to sell bread for a nickel a loaf, and some people couldn't even afford that. They'd ask for the day-old bread, which he could sell to them for 3 cents a loaf.
Ed Jones was living in an orphanage.
Nobody had any jobs. My mother died, my dad left town, you know.
The desperation and depression led many Louisiana boys to join the Navy.
The Navy paid well. You got your clothes furnished. The 3 meals a day sounds very good, too.
I hope the United States will keep out of this war. I believe that it will.
In September of 1940, America's Pacific Fleet was moved to Hawaii, along with many Louisiana sailors. Ed Jones was on the California, first in a string of battleships tied together.
You could see when the planes came in, they were flying very low, and I could see the bombs leaving the plane, hitting the buildings, blowing them up. But we didn't know what was happening because we wasn't at war.
Willie Gross also was on Battleship Row, tied up next to the Oklahoma.
We watched the 2 bombs come out the bottom of the plane like that and hit, and the hangar just blew up. And Frisky said, "Oh my God, they're going to court-martial everybody on that island. Somebody forgot to take the warheads out the bombs."
John Zanka was across the harbor, a Louisiana eyewitness to the infamy.
I heard this bugle call that sounded rather strange. It was like one long note. And I thought to myself, now what the heck is he trying to play? And then I heard him hollering, the Japs are attacking.
I'll tell you what, I could actually see that pilot looking right at me like that. That's how close he was.
We only had a single hull. Picture yourself in a large steel drum and somebody on the outside with a massive hammer.
We could shoot at ships. We could shoot at shores. We couldn't shoot at an airplane.
Oklahoma was alongside of us. Well, the first time she was hit, she rocked back and forth like this. And then she started over and she wasn't coming back. And just as she got about 15 degrees, torpedoes hit her again. And she come back up. And she rocked and rolled for a while, and then she started over the 3rd time. And they hit her again, and she come back up again. But by this time, she went all the way over. But 7 torpedoes hit the Oklahoma.
When we took our first torpedo, it knocked out our electricity. And the ammunition hoist to send us up the ammunition wouldn't work. And the ventilators that get the fresh air to the men below wouldn't work. So everybody was down below was getting asphyxiated.
I saw what I imagined Dante envisioned when he said Inferno. There was smoke hanging all over the harbor. The battleships and other ships burning. You could see fire all over. There was fire in the water. We could see the boats running around trying to find people in the water and picking up survivors, still picking up survivors and still picking up dead bodies.
Sunday night was trying to get the men, the injured, the ones that were still in the water, the men coming out of the Oklahoma, and they was running everything from the Maryland to cutting into the bottom of the Oklahoma. There were so many men in there hitting on the steel that it sounded like a million bees. All you could hear was.
We were talking to them on phones.
If any of us have trouble imagining the horror, ask any of these Louisiana vets. How shocked was our generation after terrorist attacks on New York and Washington? 60 years ago, they felt the same. That's how shocked the nation was then. America woke up that day, and the men who survived fought on with fresh fortitude and a whole new commitment.